Finally, the more I rant about the debt, the more emails I get, like this one from Tammy in Florida, who writes, "Will you ever shut up about the damn debt clock? My God, you never give up. It's getting old. Give us something new." Tammy, how about this for news? Since last night when you wrote that email, we are now $4 billion more in debt. Then there is this from Max out in L.A. "You act as if all this just happened and all this is Obama's fault. I never heard you say a word when your buddy Bush was bailing out the banks and starting this mess." Well, then you heard wrong, Max, on this show and on my Fox Business show, which, by the way, Max, if you don't get, you really should demand. But I repeatedly blasted those bailouts, arguing they were setting a bad and dangerous precedent, even when it got a very chilly response from my so-called Bush buddies at the White House and many others supporting what then President Bush was doing.
Government needs to step in with Treasury to make sure there's a floor under falling real estate values, particularly residential and
Why does the
housing
government
values.
need to do that? Why not
Because
let the
very
markets,
frankly,
however hellish it might be, and however hellish it might be tomorrow, Jack, if the House rejects this, let her rip. Mr. Free Market Capitalist, probably one of the best CEOs of the last century, are signing on to what is essentially a fiscal Hail Mary pass.
No, I think it's another step in trying to resolve the crisis that we have.
What if it continues?
Well, we're going to have to take some other steps. We're obviously, we may have to step in more aggressively to stop the downward push on housing.
But where does it end, Jack? Where does it end? You know, my point then, as it is now, green. I'm not red, I'm not blue, I'm green. You're green, you're money. Because for me, this isn't business, it's personal. I personally know what debt can do. You see, a couple of decades ago, I got sick. I got very sick. I had cancer. And it looked like I was going to die. I know people hate this when anchors talk about themselves. There's a purpose to this. Now, to make things worse back then, I had bills. And I had insurance companies that disputed paying those bills. Now, we can get into another discussion about the flaws of the healthcare system and why I feel the president's fix hasn't fixed the flaws in that system, but not now. Back to this. Back to how I frantically was trying to pay those bills any way I could. I was tapping Visa credit lines, MasterCard lines. I was often paying one credit card off with another, always juggling, forever drowning. Here's how bad things got for me. It got to the point where just paying the minimum on those credit card bills and home equity loans was my single biggest expense, the biggest one. I used to tell my wife at the time, you know, if the chemo doesn't kill me, the lack of cash to pay for it will. Now, I don't know what scared me more back then, dying or dying in debt. Well, as you can see, on attention CNN, I didn't die.
Are you ready? Do you have what it takes to not only survive hard times, but also thrive in them? In times like these, the most valuable currency we have is food and food reserves. It is more precious than gold, oil, and cash. Food is our greatest dependency, because when you're hungry, nothing else matters. You know it, and I know it. You can't control earthquakes, floods, or the real estate meltdown. But if you have food, you have personal solutions to how these things affect you. Register right here, right now, and order your 6 free meals so you can truly discover what the currency of the future and your freedom taste like.